Gaming is not being represented well when it comes to social media and YouTubers. Welcome back to another episode of TheWorryWartGamer. I wanted to make this video because I feel like when it comes to video games and people who've played them for a very long time, console gamers, people who've grown up with the Atari, then the 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit, 128-bit, we move on and on and on. Those people who are really appreciative of console gaming and how it's changed over the years and the excitement and the joy that it brings to you and me, I feel like they're not represented very well in this new age of social media driven gaming and YouTubers. It's all about hits. It's all about driving emotion, making these really cringy thumbnails with people with their shocked faces. You've seen them. It is ridiculous. These are men in their 30s, 40s, heaven forbid, some of them in their 50s doing this, and it's not coming from a place of caring about video games at all. A perfect example of this is Gotham Knights. Looking at this gameplay, leading up to it, everyone's excited. They're looking. I want you to pay attention to the word looking, because that's something that as a console gamer, I've done, and everyone I've known over the years, well over 42 years of console gaming, all of those people, and myself included, we've looked at the experience, the totality of everything that you're getting out of that box that you take home. We're not hyper focused in on one particular thing and saying, if that thing isn't what we want, then all of the other things that enable the experience to be fantastic, they don't matter, they're thrown away. So before even playing this game, it looked really good to me, whether or not it was native 4K or upscale to 4K, whether or not it was 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second, that didn't matter to me. It wasn't what I immediately was pulled towards. I was looking at the gameplay, the world, the characters, how they moved throughout the world, how cool everything looked. The world was much bigger than the older Arkham games. I loved watching Batgirl fly around, land on rooftops, use that winch to zip across and above and below things, and then the exploration in the buildings. Everything looks really good to me. At what point did we start hyper focusing in on the minutia underneath of the hood? It's like looking at a car. It looks fantastic. You hear it. It sounds amazing, and you watch it, and it is just so fast. It looks fantastic. But then all of that experience that you had, you just throw it away because, well, when you open the hood, instead of an 8-cylinder, it was a 6-cylinder with a turbocharger on it, and you wanted the 8-cylinder. The experience that you had before you knew that, that's what's important. It's not all these little things that you're really not supposed to be paying attention to. And I know what you're saying. I care about all those little things. That's fine. But console gamers don't. These aren't high-end PCs. These aren't people who are going out and spending thousands of dollars on one part for a PC. These are people buying a box that fits underneath the television, and they're buying the quote-unquote sequel to a box that they've owned 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and they're looking for that natural evolution in graphics. And on console, it's always been about the polygon count. How many polygons? The world looks bigger. Solid Snake on PS1, Solid Snake on PS2, huge difference. It looked amazing. And I can promise you, back then, when the trailer for Metal Gear Solid 2 dropped, nobody was thinking about resolution or frame rate. They were thinking, when can I get this game home so that I can play it? Now, if the developer wanted all of these graphical techniques to be in the game, they wanted to push the resolution as high as they possibly could. They wanted real-time ray tracing or reflections, and they wanted to just push next-gen graphical features. Then they had to lower the frame rate to do that because it's a closed box, a console. It's not a high-end PC, and that's what that developer wanted to do. But now I hear you. Well, They could have just taken this out. They could have just taken that out. They could have just dropped this and gave me the choice of a performance mode. Why didn't they do that? Boycott. I'm not buying it. Again, folks, I hate to keep being the bearer of bad news, but social media is not the real world. What you tweet and how many retweets you get and how many likes you get doesn't mean that you're correct. It has absolutely no bearing on anything in the real world. This is what the developer wanted to do. This is their vision. This is the game that they put out there. I think it looks fantastic. I think this hyper focus in on finding anything and everything to complain about is doing more damage than it is helping. It's not about getting what you want. It's about wanting what you get. And when you see something that looks great, you're looking at the characters moving through the world, the fluidity is there, the combat is there, nothing, it looks like it's going to bog down. It's not 10 frames per second. We're not talking about an 8-bit system here. We're talking about high-end graphical techniques being used. That's what we all wanted. Remember when we were throwing around these buzzwords like ray tracing? How about a long time ago on the OG Xbox, bump mapping? Well, all those things come at a cost on a closed box, and people who have been playing consoles from the beginning understand this, because we're not looking at the smaller parts. We're looking at the larger parts that make up the whole. That is what it's all about. I guess I just don't understand a lot of these people who, if they don't get that one thing out of 50 things that you're getting, then all of the other 50 things have to be thrown away and complained about. And you've got to get that retweet, you've got to get that like or that ratio. It literally means nothing to the reality of the world of gaming. It's done nothing. It's helped no one. And if your idea of an actual job is sitting in front of a computer talking about toys so that you can spur emotion, to spur ad revenue, to go buy ramen noodles and pay rent with 3 other people, more power to you. But for the rest of us who've been doing this for a long time and actually care about the people and the excitement and the developers and the people listening, I think it's time to just start looking at things and saying, where are the pluses? And maybe not be hyper focused in on a minus. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.